afternoon. This is Muse Beam, and I'm Bob Rixon. Today I think we're going to sit back and listen to some of the recordings that William Burroughs has scattered around. William Burroughs, of course, the author of Naked Lunch, among other books, many other books. Something of a cult figure, although I think a lot of his groupies don't bother to sit down and cut through the aura and listen to what he's saying, and he's very funny. So we're going to open up with something from Nova Express. I was traveling with the Intolerable Kid on the Nova Lark, recorded at the Mud Club, from the Sugar, Alcohol, and Meat Poet album. And I have to remind you that if you find certain words or types of language or imagery offensive, then tune out for a while and give it another shot later. So this is William S. Burroughs.
This is from Nova Express. I was traveling with the Intolerable Kid on the Nova Lark. We were on the nod after a rumble in the Crab Galaxy involving this two-way time stock. When you come to the end of a biologic film, just run it back and start over. Nobody knows the difference, like nobody was there before the film. So they started to run it back, and the projector blew up, and we lammed out of there on the blast. Holed up in those cool blue mountains, the liquid air in our spines, listening to a little hi-fi junk note. Pictures you right to metal, and you nod out 1,000 years. Just sitting there in a slate house, wrapped in orange flesh robes, the blue mist drifting around us when we get the call. As soon as I set foot on podunk Earth, I could smell it, that burnt metal reek of Nova. Already set off the charge, I said to the kid. This is a burning planet. Any minute now, the whole fucking shithouse goes up. The Intolerable Kid sniffs and says, yeah, when it happens fast. This is a rush job. And you could feel it there under your feet, the whole structure buckling like a bulkhead about to blow. So we were driving in from the airport, the kid at the wheel and his foot on the floor, and nearly ran down a covey of pedestrians, and they yell after us, what do you want to do, kill somebody? The kid sticks his head out and says, it would be a pleasure. Terrestrial dogs. His eyes light up like a blowtorch, and I can see he's really in form. Now we start right to work, making our headquarters in the land of the free, where the call came from, and which is really free and wide open for any life form, the uglier the better. Well, they don't come any uglier than the Intolerable Kid and your reporter. When the planet is all primed to go up, they call in the kid to jump around from one faction to the other, agitating and insulting all parties, until they all say, by God, before I give an inch, the whole fucking shithouse goes up in chunks. We had to plan what they call the board books to show us what is what on this dead whistle stop. 3 life forms uneasily parasitic on a 4th form that is beginning to wise up. And the whole planet is absolutely flapping, hysterical with panic, the way we like to see them. It's a dead easy pitch, the kid says. Yeah, I say, a little bit too easy. Something here, kid, something wrong. I can feel it. The kid can't hear me. We need a peg to hang it on, the kid said. Something really ugly like virus. Not for nothing do they come from a land without mirrors. So he takes over this news magazine. Now, he said, I'll by God show them how ugly the ugly American can be. And he breaks out all the ugliest pictures in the image bank and puts it out on the subliminal. So one crisis piles up after the other right on schedule. And the kid is whizzing around like a buzzsaw. And that black noble laugh of his, you can hear it now down all the streets, shaking the buildings, the skyline like stage props. But me, I'm looking around. The more I look, the less I like what I see. For one thing, the Nova heat is moving in fast and heavy like I never see it anywhere else. Kid just thinks I have the copper jitters. So what, he said. I've still got the board books. I can split this whistle stop wide open tomorrow. No use talking to him. I look around some more and find out the blockade on planet Earth is broken. Explorers moving in whole armies. And everybody concerned is fed up with the intolerable kid. And all he can say is, so what, I've still got... Cut. Board books taken. The film reeks of burning switch like a blowtorch. Pre-recorded heat glare massing Hiroshima. This whistle stop wide open to hot crab people. And the intolerable kids, errand boys, and strike breakers are copping out right, left, and center. Mr. Martin and you board members, vulgar, stupid Americans, you'll regret calling in the Mayan Aztec gods with your synthetic mushrooms. Remember, we keep exact junk measure of the pain inflicted, and that pain must be paid in full. Is that clear enough, Mr. Intolerable Martin, or shall I make it even clearer? Allow me to introduce myself, the Mayan god of pain and fear from the white-hot plains of Venice, which does not mean a god of vulgarity, cowardice, ugliness, and stupidity. There's a cool spot on the surface of Venice, 300 degrees cooler than the surrounding area. I have held that spot against all contestants for 500,000 years. Now you expect to use me as your errand boy and strike breaker, summoned up by an IBM machine and a handful of virus crystals? How long could you hold that spot, you board members? About 30 seconds, I think, with all your guard dogs. And you thought to channel my energies for your Operation Total Disposal? Your operations there are here, this or that, come and go and are no more. Give my name back. That name must be paid for, and you have not paid. My name is not yours to use. Henceforth, I think, about 30 seconds is written. And you can see the marks are wising up, standing around in sullen groups, and that mutter gets louder and louder. Any minute now, 50 million adolescents will hit the street with switchblades, bicycle chains, and cobblestones. Rock and roll adolescent hoodlums storm the streets of all nations. They rush into the Louvre and throw acid in the Mona Lisa's face. They open zoos, insane asylums, prisons, burst water mains with air hammers, chop the floor out of passenger plane lavatories, shoot out lighthouses, file elevator cables to one thin wire, turn sewers into the water supply, throw sharks and stingrays, electric eels and kangaroo into swimming pools. In nautical costumes, they ram the Queen Mary full speed into New York Harbor, play chicken with passenger planes and buses, rush into hospitals in white coats, carrying saws and axes and scalpels 3 feet long. They throw paralytics out of iron lungs and mimic their suffocations, flopping around on the floor and rolling their eyes up. Administer injections with bicycle pumps. Disconnect artificial kidneys. Saw a woman in half with a 2-man surgical saw. They drive herds of squealing pigs into the commodity exchange. They shit on the floor of the United Nations and wipe their asses with treaties, pacts, alliances. By plane, car, horse, camel, elephant, tractor, bicycle, steamroller, on foot, ski, sled, crutch, and pogo stick, the tourists storm the frontiers, demanding with inflexible authority asylum from the unspeakable conditions obtaining in free land. Chamber of Commerce striving in vain to stem the debacle. Please to be restful. It is only a few crazies who have from the crazy place outbroken. Thank you. Short selection along the same lines from Naked Lunch. The laboratory's been locked for 3 hours solid. I think they're using it for an operating room. Nurse, I can't find her pulse, Doctor. Dr. Benway looks around and picks up one of those rubber vacuum cups at the end of a stick they use to unstop toilets. He advances on the patient. Make an incision, Dr. Limp, he says to his appalled assistant. I'm going to massage the heart. Dr. Limp shrugs and begins the incision. Dr. Benway washes the suction cup by swishing it around in the toilet bowl. Nurse, should it be sterilized, Doctor? Very likely, but there's no time. He sits on the suction cup like a cane seat, watching his assistant make the incision. You young squirts couldn't lance a pimple without an electric vibrating scalpel with automatic drain and suture. Soon we'll be operating by remote control on patients we never see. We'll be nothing but button pushers. All the skill is going out of surgery, all the know-how and make-do. Did I ever tell you about the time I performed an appendectomy with a rusty sardine can? And once I was caught short without instrument 1 and removed an uterine tumor with my teeth. That was in the upper effendi, and besides, the incision is ready, Doctor. Dr. Benway forces the cup into the incision and works it up and down. Blood spurts all over the doctors, the nurse, and the wall. The cup makes a horrible sucking sound. I think she's gone, Doctor. Dr. Benway. Well, it's all a day's work. He walks across the room to a medicine cabinet. Some fucking drug addict cussed my cocaine with Sandy Flush. Nurse, send the boy out to fill this RX on the double. Thank you. The name is Clem Schneid. I am a private asshole. As a private investigator, I run into more death than the law allows. I mean the law of averages. Here's a routine case of industrial sabotage and the factory blows up, killing 23 people. Well, these things happen. I am a man of the world, going to and fro and walking up and down in it. Now, death smells. I mean, death has a special smell, over and above the smell of cyanide, cordite, blood, carrion, or burnt flesh. It's a gray smell. It stops the heart, cuts off the breath. Smell of the empty body, smell of field hospitals and gangrene. I got a whiff of it when Mr. Green walked into my office. Now, Ernest Hemingway could smell it on others, too. Here he is in a Jeep with General Lanham, known as Bucky to his friends. And Ernie was a real general lover. It's worse than being a cop lover. Well, here they are, and it's returning from the front line where Major Jones was in charge. Have to relieve that man, says Bucky. Bucky, says Ernie, you won't have to relieve him. He won't make it. He stinks of death.
When the Jeep reached Regimental Command Post, it was stopped by Lieutenant Colonel John Ruggles. General, said Ruggles, saluting, the major has just been killed. Who takes the 1st Battalion? Well, Mr. Hart isn't trying to be a nice guy any longer. It is, he decides, uphill and rather unrewarding work. Mr. Hart sets out to be death. He learns to kill through his newspapers, and he teaches his editors the tricks as they crawl up his ladder. Now you just move this tenement fire over here and burn some more niggers. Chuckling over roasted babies, car accidents, and riots like a southern lawman feeling his nigger notches. Mr. Hart has to be inhuman because humans are mortal, and Mr. Hart is addicted to immortality. He's addicted to an immortality predicated on the mortality of others, skooks, niggers, wogs, human dogs, and feeling his own contempt for these apes affords him a mineral calm. He's addicted to a certain brain frequency. A little high blue note feels so good, that feeling he just swim in it forever and ever. And this cool blue frequency comes from making hands tremble and sweat, from feeling the dear meritorious poor wriggle and slobber under his boots, from making people ugly and grind in their faces, and from knowing he can squash an editor like a bug and seeing his editor know it. You see the action, B.J., this old searching tycoon with this dark side to his character. Mr. Hart, death will not serve a stranger who cannot prove his title, a gringo who fears the very word and sets up a house rule that the word death may not be pronounced in his presence. Hey, look at all them dead bodies. Audrey points with his left hand as Virus B-23, surfacing from remote seas of pastime, rages through cities of the world like a topping forest fire. Last take, Mr. Hart's deserted, ruined mansion, graffiti on the walls. A Pook was here. Here lived a stupid, vulgar son of a bitch who thought he could hire death as a company cop.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Kim recruits a band of flamboyant and picturesque outlaws called the Wild Fruits. There's the crying gun who breaks into tears at sight of his opponent. What the matter? Somebody take your lollipop? Oh, senor, I am sorry for you. And the priest who goes into a gunfight giving his adversary the last rites. And the blind gun who zeroes in with bat squeaks. Kim trains his men to identify themselves with death. He takes some Roki guns out to a dead horse rotting in the sun, eviscerated by vultures. Kim points to the horse steaming there in the noonday heat. All right, roll in it. What? Roll in it. Get the stink of death into your chaps and your boots and your guns and your hair. Well, most of us puked at first, but we got used to it, and vultures followed us around, hopefully. We always ride into town with the wind behind us. The townspeople gag and retch. My God, what's that stink? It's the stink of death, citizens. And I think, personally, the whole planet stinks of death. And what are we going to do about it? Well, all this may have happened many times before in this old universe. Here we are, trillions of years ago in Galaxy X, and a rally has been organized to protest the use of black holes as an energy source. A bit late, as it turned out. Closing time, gentlemen. Brian Geisen has a bedtime story. It seems that trillions of years ago, a giant flicked grease from his fingers. One of these gobs of grease is our universe on its way to the floor. This piece is called The Unworthy Vessel. Daddy Longlegs looked like Uncle Sam on stilts, and he ran this osteopath clinic outside East St. Louis and took in a few junkie patients. For $2 a week, they could stay on the nod in green lawn chairs and look at the oaks and grass stretching down to a little lake in the sun. The nurse moves around the lawn with her silver tray, feeding the junk in. We called her mother, wouldn't you? Doc Benway and me was holed up there after a rumble in Dallas involving this aphrodisiac ointment. Doc goofed on ether and mixed in too much Spanish fly and burned the prick off the police commissioner. So we come to Daddy Longlegs to cool off, and we find him cool and casual in a dark room with potted rubber plants and a silver tray on the table where he likes to see a week in advance. The nurse shows us to a room with rose wallpaper, and we have this bell. Any hour of the day or night, just ring, and Mother charges in with a loaded hypo. One day we are sitting out in the lawn chairs with lap robes, and Doc picks up a piece of grass. He says, "Junk turns you on a vegetable. It's green, see? A green fix should last a long time." So we check out of the clinic and rent a house, and Doc starts cooking up this green junk. The basement is full of tanks, smell like a compost heap for junkies. So finally he draws off this heavy green fluid and loads it into a hypo big as a bicycle pump. "Now we must find a worthy vessel," he says. And we flush out this old goofball artist and tell him it is pure Chinese H from the Ling dynasty. And Doc shoots the whole pint of green right into the main line. Yellow Jacket turns fibrous gray-green and withers up like an old turnip. And I say, "I'm getting out of here, me." Doc says, "An unworthy vessel, obviously." Withdraw from the case. Thank you.
We heard some various selections by William Burroughs. From Nova Express, we heard "I Was Traveling with the Intolerable Kid" on the Nova Lark. From Naked Lunch, we heard "The Laboratory Has Been Locked for 3 hours solid." We heard "My Name is Clem Snide, Private Asshole" from Cities of the Red Night. And from The Place of Dead Roads, we heard "The Wild Fruits." And from Nova Express, we heard "The Unworthy Vessel." These were all available, or were available, on the various John Giorno Poetry Systems records. So you've been listening to Muse Beam. I'm Bob Rixon. You can write us here at Muse Beam, WFMU, Uppsala College, East Orange, New Jersey, 07019. And I thank you for tuning in.
Hi, this is Joe Renner, and these are the Rixon tapes. Bob Rixon was a poet and broadcaster, a pioneer of freeform radio from 1981 at the FMU studios in New Jersey. He passed away on May 8th, 2014 at the age of 66. These tapes are a tribute to his work as a broadcaster and poet. Help this channel by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you very much.